High school student Takuya identifies himself as an otaku. He is thrilled to have finally acquired a limited edition eraser from his favorite series, Kuruman, an anime made for women. He treasures the item so much that he feels it would be a waste to actually use it. Suddenly, his classmate, Kotoko Ikiji, asks if she can borrow his eraser. Seo panics, caught between his weakness around girls and his desire to protect his precious collector's item. He tries to explain its importance, but Ikiji casually reassures him that she will give it right back. Seo internally reflects on his classmate, the hyperactive Ikiji, noting she isn't his type. He feels the same about her friend, the model-like Amane. As the girls examine the eraser, Ikiji mistakes the character for a Pokemon, prompting a swift correction from Seo. When Ikiji misidentifies it again, Seo blurts out more specific details about the character. To Seo's utter shock, Amane calmly and correctly states that the character first appears in episode 2. Seo is stunned by her knowledge. Ikiji is also surprised by her friend's knowledge. Flustered, Amane quickly claims that her sister is a huge fan of Kuruman, leaving Seo to ponder her reaction. The possibility that Amane might also be an otaku lingers in Seo's mind. The thought of finally having someone to talk to about Kuruman excites him. As Amane prepares to leave for the day, he musters his courage and calls out to her. When confronted, Amane vehemently denies being an otaku, cornering Seo against a wall. She insists that her sister is the only fan in her family. She declares she is not an otaku and begins to leave. Dejected, Seo apologizes for the misunderstanding. As she walks away, he casually mentions that she probably would not be interested in a limited edition Kuruman item he has. Amane immediately stops and returns, her interest piqued. She takes the item and explains with excitement that it's a rare bonus from the manga's first edition, one she had been unable to find. Realizing she has revealed her own enthusiasm, she quickly tries to cover for herself by mentioning her sister. Seeing how much she wants it, Seo explains that he has two and offers her the spare. Amine's face lights up with joy, asking if he is serious. She gratefully accepts and promises to bring him something from her collection the next day, leaving Seo happy to have connected with her. Ijichi Kotoko, who sits in front of Takuya Seo, cheerfully asks him if he has an Instagram account. The sudden question catches Seo completely off guard. He nervously asks why she wants to know, and she replies that it just seems interesting. He explains that his account is set to private for his own enjoyment and isn't something he wants to show other people. Ijichi notes that he is already logged in and begins scrolling through his feed, much to Seo's horror. She looks through his collection of Kuruman pictures and drawings. Mortified, Seo imagines his classmates finding out and calling his hobby creeptastic. Seo internally despairs, thinking his social life is over. However, Ijichi's reaction is one of pure excitement as she exclaims that his drawings are super amazing. Seo is shocked by her praise for his devotion, asking her if she doesn't think it's creepy. Thinking his account is a little boring, she suggests they can do better, while Seo remembers she has been unexpectedly kind before. Without warning, Ijichi snaps a selfie with a bewildered Seo. She grins and suggests they should post pictures together more often. The new post appears on his Instagram feed, captioned with hashtags like #MiklasMate and #FirstDualSelfie. As Seo stares at his phone, blushing, Ijichi playfully warns him not to delete the picture. The latest episode of the anime Kuruman Pets featured the death of a character named Patch. The character's heroic sacrifice moved Seo so much that he cried for an entire day. He feels isolated in his grief, believing no one around him could possibly watch the same show. As he arrives at school, he wonders if his classmate Amane might have seen the episode. He sees Amane sitting by the window, letting out a long sigh. Seo watches her from his seat, noticing her somber mood. He focuses on her face and is certain he can see the tracks of her tears. Moved, Seo concludes that she must have shed tears for Patch. A couple of male classmates notice Amane looks more beautiful than usual and assume she must be in love. Ijichi sits with Amane and asks if she is okay. Amane claims she is fine, just upset after getting into a fight with her little sister. Ijichi relates, saying that fights between siblings can get really bad. As an only child, Seo doesn't have the same experience. He internally apologizes, still convinced she is hiding her otaku tendencies, as he overhears a classmate talking about a patch update for a game. Mishearing the word patch, Amane stands up abruptly and calls out the character's name, Patch. Her sudden outburst captures the attention of the entire classroom. Seo connects the dots, realizing with a knowing smile that she was indeed crying about Pache, confirming his suspicions that she may be an otaku. At home, Seo watches the latest Kuruman episode, which features an idle character named Mikai. As he thinks about the character, a realization begins to dawn on him. He muses that the character reminds him of Ejichi, who then appears at school with a cheerful good morning. Seo observes Ejichi surrounded by her friends, feeling that she belongs to a different world than him. He internally dismisses the idea of telling her she looks like Mikai from Kuruman, thinking it's an absurd thing to say to someone so popular. Despite his hesitation, the thought lingers, and he finds himself staring at her. He continues sneaking peeks at Ejichi all day, right up until after school. Ejichi leans over his desk, noting that she noticed him looking at her all day. Startled, Seo jumps up and apologizes, assuring her he had no creepy intentions. She correctly deduces that his staring was related to Kuruman, and even quotes a line from the show. He apologizes for the comparison, assuming she would be creeped out. Unable to help himself, Seo begins passionately describing all of Mikai's wonderful qualities. Leaning in, Ejichi imitates the character Mikai, asking if she can be by his side. Seo is completely flustered, thinking that while her impression is a bit off, it is incredibly cute. In the background, Amane gives Ejichi a brutally honest critique. The narration confirms that Amane K and Ejichi Kotoko are extremely popular, as Ejichi invites Amane to go to karaoke. A group of female students gush over how cute the two of them are. Meanwhile, a group of male students discuss their attractive qualities, like Amin's voice and Ejichi's friendly nature. Seo dismisses the social hierarchy, reminding himself that he has something more important to do. His mind is set on the release of a rare, limited Kuruman random figure. He is absolutely determined to get his hands on one. Arriving at the store, he's pleased to see it's not crowded, which gives him mixed feelings about the anime's popularity. To his surprise, he spots Amane and Ejichi already in the store, with Amane holding one of the figure boxes. Both Seo and Amane are flustered by the unexpected encounter. Amane quickly explains that she's there for her little sister, who is looking forward to the figure. Seo questions their presence, remembering their earlier plans to go to karaoke. Amane explains that she left the planned outing when it turned into a hookup meeting. Ejichi chimes in, saying she thought it would be more fun to follow Amane instead. This revelation makes Seo reconsider his assumptions, thinking Amane might really be into Kuruman after all. Nearby, another boy steals his nerves, wanting to ask one of them to buy a figure together to increase their chances of getting the ones they want. As Amane and Ejichi continue their conversation, Seo feels out of place. He decides to leave for now. He hesitates for a moment. Convinced that otakus and Gyaris don't belong together, he turns to exit the store. Suddenly, someone grabs him from behind. He looks back, startled. It is Ejichi and Amane who have stopped him. Ejichi smiles brightly and calls out his name. Ejichi invites him to buy a figure together, and Amane asks him to swap if he gets her sister's favorite, while they both pull him along. Overwhelmed but happy, Seo has a realization: there might be Gyaru who are kind to otakus after all. Amane is overwhelmed with joy, having finally obtained the Vamp-sama figure. Meanwhile, Seo is shocked to see that Ejichi has gotten the secret figure, though she seems unaware of its rarity. Takuya introduces himself as an otaku, watching two of his Gyaru classmates from his desk. Ejichi shows Amane her phone, excited about a story update and a new nail design. Changing the subject, Ejichi excitedly asks Amane if it's true that the basketball team captain confessed to her. Amane calmly states that she turned him down, shocking Ejichi. Seo overhears their conversation and feels it has nothing to do with him. Ejichi asks Amane to describe her ideal type, causing Seo to think his suspicion of her being an otaku is just his imagination. Amane begins describing her ideal type as someone slim, pale, and with blonde hair. The specific description causes a jolt of recognition for the eavesdropping Seo. Seo immediately recognizes the description, realizing she's talking about the character Vamp the Great. He recalls a previous conversation where Amane expressed interest in a Vamp figure, reinforcing his theory. Ejichi wonders if Amane is describing a K-pop or Hollywood star, while Seo knows there are plenty of people who fit that description. Amane further specifies that her ideal type would be weak against sunlight, which solidifies Seo's belief that she means Vamp the Great. Amane surprises Seo from behind, telling him he's mistaken about her preferences. She leans in close and whispers a question to Seo about her feelings for the character Vamp. Ejichi mentally lists the traits Amane described, realizing they could apply to Seo. Ijichi gasps at her realization, and a flustered Amane tells her to stop grinning, confirming to Ijichi that Amane is an otaku. Seo notes that Ijichi, who sits in front of him, frequently forgets her things and seems to want to borrow his ruler. Ijichi muses that the boys in class would be eager to lend her things. Suddenly, Seo has a sinking realization that he forgot his English textbook. His panic intensifies as he remembers the class is with their scariest teacher, nicknamed Mafia. With class already started, Seo feels it would be too awkward to admit he forgot his book. He decides to use his math textbook as a stand-in, hoping to avoid trouble. Ijichi turns around to ask for a red pen, her eyes landing on his desk. Seo is terrified, realizing that she has found him out. He imagines the worst-case scenario, Ijichi telling everyone and the whole class making fun of him. In a shocking turn of events, Ijichi raises her hand and claims she forgot her textbook. Other students, and even the teacher, react to Ijichi being forgetful once again. She winks at the teacher and announces that she will simply share with Seo. Seo is left speechless and confused by her unexpected move. Ijichi leans in and playfully teases him about his math textbook disguise. Seo is shocked to see she has her own textbook and realizes she's covering for him. She whispers that this is her way of thanking him for always letting her borrow things. As she borrows his pen, a blushing Seo understands that this was her way of repaying his small favors. On a Sunday, Seo travels to a shopping mall in the next town over. He's there to attend the Kuruman Hero show, the only one being held nearby. Upon reaching the rooftop plaza, he finds the setup underwhelming and nearly deserted. He muses on the self-contradictory nature of being an otaku. Deciding to make the best of it, he goes to take a front-row seat next to the only other attendee. He is stunned when he recognizes the person. He recognizes Amane, who is in disguise and initially tries to pretend she's someone else. Seo nervously asks if she would be willing to exchange favorite characters from the swag bag. Amane enthusiastically drops her disguise and agrees, claiming any vamp merchandise for herself. Amane makes an excuse, claiming her little sister has a cold and couldn't come. The character Tono appears on stage to start the hero show. Seo has an intensely excited reaction to seeing the character, which startles Amane. He apologizes for his outburst, admitting the realistic size of the costume got him overly excited. As another guest is announced, Amane playfully teases Seo for his lack of composure. When Vamp the Great appears on stage, Amane completely loses her cool, screaming with excitement as Seo looks on in shock. After her outburst earns a comment from the stage, Amane quickly regains her composure and they both enjoy the show. Feeling the heat, Seo decides to buy a cola from a vending machine. Ijichi suddenly appears and confronts him, asking what he thinks he is doing. Seo, confused by her tone, explains he's just getting a cola. Ijichi scolds him for using a vending machine when a well-known discount store is nearby. Seo observes that she sounds like a mom looking for a bargain. She grabs his hand and eagerly pulls him into the store. Inside the store, Ijichi has fun trying on costumes, much to Seo's embarrassment. They leave the store with their discounted colas, and a dizzy Seo realizes he paid for both. Seo overhears Ijichi on the phone with her friend Mayu and realizes she was waiting for someone. Seo's heart thumps as he realizes their time together felt like a date. He tries to rationalize it, telling himself that she was just killing time before meeting her friend. As she departs, Ijichi thanks him and casually asks to go on another date. Her words hit him like a shock, and he is left to process the fact that it was, indeed, a date. While Seo and Ijichi are talking about Kuruman, they are interrupted. Amane joins their conversation, correctly guessing the exact episode they were discussing. Seo feels moved by the simple joy of sharing something he loves with others. The three discuss the series, with Ijichi asking how many episodes are out. Seo happily offers to lend Ijichi his Blu-ray so she can see a bonus episode. Ijichi eagerly suggests they all go to his house after school, much to Seo's surprise. Amane questions Ijichi's idea, reminding her that she supposedly doesn't like boys. Ijichi dismisses her concern, confidently stating that their otaku-kun is harmless. Ijichi asks if Amane is going to come along, while a flustered Seo insists he won't do anything weird. Seo panics, trying to get out of the visit by saying his house is messy and his parents are home. Ijichi teases him, and Seo defensively says the only thing he has are some drawings of Kuruman. Hearing about the drawings, Amane gives a thumbs up and decisively says, "Let's go." With the decision made, both girls get excited about seeing his drawings, ignoring Seo's protests. Once inside, Ijichi comments that his room isn't bad at all, while Amane gets straight to the point, asking about his drawings. Seo is frozen with anxiety, unable to believe that two popular girls are actually in his room. Ijichi whispers to Seo, offering him a chance to clear away anything embarrassing before they come in. Kotoko excitedly points out a limited edition prize figure in Seo's display case, while Amane observes how much he must treasure it. Seo is in a state of panic, wondering if he'll survive having two Jaru in his room. He watches in horror as Kotoko makes herself at home, searching his bookshelf. Feeling his heart is about to explode, Seo desperately offers them his discs and soundtracks to take home. Kotoko presses close to Seo, insisting she would rather watch the disc there with him. Overwhelmed, Seo bows his head as Amane points out to a confused Kotoko that she's committing sexual harassment. Seo tries to dissuade them by admitting he gets quite into the show, even when watching alone. Kotoko pictures him cheering wildly with glow sticks, though Seo insists he doesn't go that far. Amane, however, knows the truth, thinking to herself that he absolutely does. Amane and Seo both try to downplay their intense viewing habits. Amane sheepishly describes her own otaku-like viewing preparations. Kotoko is thrilled by the idea, comparing it to a concert and declaring she wants to join in. Her enthusiasm leaves both Amane and Seo momentarily speechless. Kotoko encourages them, saying she doesn't mind if they get loud and provide commentary on the show. Amane and Seo reluctantly nod in agreement. Ready to begin, Seo, Kotoko and Amane get into position with their fans and glow sticks. Seo is overcome with joy, thinking to himself how amazing the situation is. The group gets emotional over a touching scene, with Kotoko noticing a character shares her name. A new villain and her monster make a dramatic entrance. The new character's appearance sends the trio into a frenzy of excited commentary. Seo thinks to himself how much fun he is having. He reflects that going all-in otaku style with others is an incredible experience. Suddenly, Amane grabs his shirt to point out a secret detail on screen, catching a shocked Seo completely off guard. Amane excitedly points out a detail on screen, while a blushing Seo panics internally about her touching him. He thinks about how he has gotten used to Kotoko's friendly nature. However, he notes that Amane always keeps her distance and has never gotten this close to a boy before. Completely overwhelmed by the situation, Seo's heart begins to race. Amane confronts a dazed Seo, asking if he's paying attention. A camera flash startles them both, and they spring apart in embarrassment. It's revealed that Kotoko took a picture of their close moment. Amane angrily demands the picture, but Kotoko playfully refuses, while Seo is too flustered to speak. Kotoko stretches on the bed, announcing it's time for a break. As she opens the curtain, a flustered Seo is shocked to find a girl on his bed. Kotoko mentions uploading the picture, then quickly backtracks when she sees Amane's scary expression. She pivots, reminding Amane that she wanted to check out Seo's Instagram account. Amane eagerly demands to see Seo's Instagram, making him so nervous he can't look at her. Seo tries to brush it off, but Amane insists it's only fair since she's seen Ijichi's account. He warns her not to get her hopes up as he prepares to show her his phone. Amane gets close to look, impressed by the drawings scattered among his merchandise photos. Amane stares at the phone with a look of dawning realization. Kotoko notices Amine's strange silence and asks what's wrong. Suddenly, Amane asks if his account name is Artaki Ocean, shocking Seo. Seo tries to dismiss his account as nothing special, waving off Kotoko's question about his fame. Completely stunned, Seo asks Amane how she could possibly know that name. Amane calmly reveals she is one of his 50 followers, leaving Seo impressed by how cool she sounds. She explains her nightly ritual of searching for fan art, which makes Seo feel both happy and embarrassed. Kotoko eagerly asks if Amane knows another famous fan artist. After hearing their exchange, Kotoko concludes that Amane is definitely an otaku. The situation evolves into Seo teaching Amane how to draw, and he can't help but notice how close she is. Amane had eagerly asked for a chance to try drawing. Seo observes that Amane is now being completely open about her otaku hobbies. He suddenly realizes he's been ignoring Kotoko and turns to apologize. He finds Kotoko lying on his bed, looking relaxed. Seo is flustered, thinking she looks incredibly alluring. He apologizes for being an inattentive host, but she reassures him it's fine. Kotoko tells Seo that Amane is always popular and has to shoot down guys who try to pick her up. Amane points out that Kotoko gets just as much attention from boys. Seo feels that they inhabit a different world and their casual attitude is unsettling. He considers them school celebrities and finds it incredible that they are in his room. Kotoko playfully asks Seo which one of them he likes. The question completely short-circuits Seo's brain. He deflects by declaring his unwavering devotion to an anime character, which the girls find amusingly predictable. The clock on the shelf shows that it's gotten quite late. Amane and Kotoko say their goodbyes at the door, thanking Seo for having them over. Seo earnestly tells the girls he wants to thank them. He explains that it was his first time having friends over and he had a lot of fun. He begins to apologize for his hosting skills. Kotoko stops him, telling him not to be so formal and that they really enjoyed themselves. Kotoko teases a blushing Amane about getting to see her geek out. Amane sincerely tells Seo that she had a lot of fun and thanks him. The two girls wave goodbye as they head down the street. Seo waves back, promising to see them at school. As they walk, Kotoko comments on how fun the day was. She finds Seo's earnest nature to be intriguing. Amane agrees, realizing it's been a long time since she had so much fun and felt so relaxed. She privately thinks that Seo might not be so bad. In a brief bonus scene, Seo's mother arrives home just as the girls are leaving, surprised to find her son with guests. After an exciting day, Amane and Kotoko Ajichi head home. Seo sighs, thinking back on how much fun the day was. As he enters his room, he's struck by how empty it feels now that they're gone. He sits on his bed, musing that this must be what it's like after friends go home, and realizes he doesn't even have a way to contact Kotoko. He notices a sweet, lingering fragrance in the air, a reminder of his guests. The scent triggers a vivid daydream where he's still surrounded by Kotoko and Amane. Seo quickly snaps out of it, chastising himself for having such thoughts. He decides to draw to take his mind off things. However, he immediately imagines Amane appearing beside him, asking him to draw her. Realizing his imagination is still active, he decides it's better to just go to bed. But as he approaches his bed, he's greeted by an imaginary Kotoko commenting on how comfy it is. Feeling like a prisoner in his own room, he wonders what he's supposed to do. The next morning, Seo arrives at school looking completely drained from a sleepless night. Kotoko and Amane greet him as they arrive in the classroom. Kotoko asks if he's all right, concerned about his appearance. Seo realizes he didn't get a wink of sleep, having learned the true terror of the Gyaro. After school, Amane learns that Kotoko has already left for the day. Seeing that Amane is alone, Seo realizes this is the perfect opportunity to find out what's on her mind. He hurries to catch up with her as she's about to leave. He whispers, asking her to tell him the name of the anonymous account she used to follow him, but she immediately refuses. She explains that she feels embarrassed because of the other things she likes with that account, which Seo sees as a confirmation. Seo presses his case, stating that the anonymous account is, in fact, her personal one. He lays out the evidence. She admitted to liking things herself and the account is primarily for Kuruman. He triumphantly declares this is irrefutable evidence that they are both otakus. A flustered Amane wobbles, calling him overly dramatic for an otaku, but she seems to have no other defense. Amane admits the account is hers, but claims she only uses it to show things to her third-grade sister who doesn't have a phone. Seo is momentarily stunned by her clever excuse. He presses her, clarifying that if what she says is true, then she is certainly not an otaku. Amane agrees. Seo expresses his regret at not finding a comrade. He then issues a new challenge. She must keep up a running commentary with him during the latest Kuruman episode. Defeated, a blushing Amane finally tells him her account name, Teikoku Shoujo, leaving Seo thrilled. As her friends call for her to leave, Amane whispers to Seo, telling him to be sure to contact her. Seo looks at her profile, which proudly lists her love for all things cute, especially Kuruman. He realizes that Amane is actually a more serious and devoted otaku than he is. As the Kuruman opening song plays, Seo prepares to watch the latest episode. He feels more nervous than usual for the broadcast. The reason for his anxiety is that he'll be live texting with Amane as they watch together. His phone pings with a message, and he immediately wonders if it's from her. He's shocked to see her passionate and knowledgeable texts, wondering if this is really the same Amane. He notes that her online persona is completely different from how she acts at school. She's not even trying to hide that she's an otaku. His own otaku pride swells, and he resolves that he can't let a Gyaro out-otaku him. He gets ready for battle, determined to prove his superior love for all things Kuruman. Their heated debate continued throughout the day, even after the episode was over. The next day at school, Amane is greeted by her classmates, looking as lovely as ever. Seo observes her, noting that she's back to her usual cool self. He finds it hard to believe this is the same person he was arguing with and wonders if she was just humoring him. Feeling that his otaku habits got the better of him, he sighs and decides he should apologize to her later. Amane approaches Seo's desk and tells him with a smile that their interaction yesterday was amazing. She asks if they should do it again, and an excited Seo readily agrees. Kotoko overhears their suggestive-sounding conversation and looks on in shock. Noticing Kotoko's reaction, Seo panics and tries to cover by claiming they were just talking about the weather. Seo triumphantly finds a rare Kurarinman Pets pillow cover that was notoriously hard to find. After failing to find it at any anime stores, he had a hunch he might find it in the kids section of a supermarket. Feeling a bit awkward, he's suddenly bumped into by a small child. A woman's voice calls out to her sons, Kakeru and Hibiki, telling them not to run. The boy's older sister apologizes to Seo, explaining that her little brothers are very wild. Both Seo and Kotoko are shocked to run into each other. Seo is taken aback by her completely different, dressed-down appearance. Seo asks what she is doing there. She cheerfully explains that she's helping her mom with errands, since there are a lot of people in her family. Embarrassed, Kotoko begs Seo not to stare since she isn't wearing any makeup. Seo finds it unusual to see her so flustered. She asks him to keep what he saw a secret. He agrees, thinking to himself how cute she is and acknowledging an otaku's weakness for such gaps in personality. Relieved, Kotoko thanks him and pats his shoulder, a casual gesture that doesn't go unnoticed. Her younger brother, Kakeru, sees the interaction and angrily asks who the jerk touching his sister is. The misunderstanding escalates as one of her brothers calls Seo, Kotoko's boyfriend. A flustered Kotoko quickly apologizes to Seo and drags her brothers away, telling them not to say strange things. A blushing Seo doesn't mind the mistake one bit. At school, Seo tells Amane he found the Kuraman pillow cover, making Kotoko jealous. Kotoko stares intently at Seo, as if warning him to watch what he says. He explains he found it in a supermarket's kids section and offers to send Amane the location via Instagram. Kotoko is surprised to hear they follow each other, but Seo explains it's just the anonymous account for their real-time commentary sessions. Kotoko announces that she wants to join in on their conversations too. Seo asks if she's sure, and Kotoko explains she only restrained herself because she thought his account was strictly for otaku activities. She pulls out her phone and complains that Amane almost never replies to her direct messages. Seo mentions that, in his experience, Amane replies immediately. An upset Kotoko demands an explanation, and Amane admits she ignores her because Kotoko's calls last forever. Kotoko decides that she'll just message Seo instead. Seo is overjoyed, explaining that he'd love to talk about Kuraman with anyone. Kotoko and Amane watch his enthusiastic reaction. Later that day, the events of school are still fresh in his mind. After a shower, Seo reflects on how following each other on Instagram is making them feel like real friends. Just then, his phone lights up with a new message. He picks it up and is shocked by what he reads. One message is from Kotoko, asking if he wants to go see a movie this weekend. The other is from Amane, telling him she's going to animate this weekend and that he should come with her. He realizes he's received conflicting invitations from both of them. In a bonus scene, Kotoko's brothers catch her grinning at her phone after sending the invitation. They tease her about having a boyfriend, and one of them peeks at her phone, confirming she's planning a date, much to her annoyance. Seo panics as he realizes the invitations from Kotoko and Amane could actually be for dates. He agonizes over what to do, feeling it's impossible for someone like him to choose one girl and refuse the other. Thus, Seo worried himself sick until the morning. Kotoko explains that Seo's solution to being double-booked was to suggest all three of them play together. She teases him, commenting that he knows how to throw himself into the lap of luxury. Seo thinks the girls look completely different from their usual selves and are incredibly cute. He struggles to find the courage to compliment them, feeling like a mere background character. Kotoko whispers to Amane, asking if this is her first time going out alone with a guy. Amane denies it, saying she just had a place in mind, and suggests all three of them can go if it's okay. A thoughtful Kotoko suddenly comes up with a plan. Kotoko cheerfully announces her idea, an alternating date where she will leave for an hour to start. She tells a shocked Seo that when she returns, it will be his turn to have a 1-hour date with her. Amane, with a slight blush, tells Kotoko not to wander too far. Kotoko adds a final warning to keep things wholesome, prompting vehement denials from both Amane and Seo. Amane apologizes for Kotoko's antics and asks Seo where he'd like to go. He suggests Animate for a new fanbook. While walking, Seo feels that Amane exists on a different plane altogether and notices others staring at her. Two men approach and start hitting on Amane, asking who the lil boy with her is. Seo panics internally, feeling he has to do something but is too intimidated to act. Amane coldly dismisses the men, telling them she and Seo will do perfectly fine without them. Her intense glare metaphorically freezes the two men in their tracks. Seo is shocked, having forgotten about this side of her. He recalls her reputation as the unapproachable ice queen at school, known for her weaponized glare. Amane turns to Seo, asking if she seemed too scary, snapping him out of his thoughts. Amane explains that while she doesn't mean to come off as hard, she knows she can scare people. She adds with a small laugh that her intimidating look has its uses, like in the situation that just occurred. Seo reassures her, saying she was amazing and that the gap between being an otaku and being so cool is incredible. Blushing, Amane admits she was so scared she couldn't do anything, and that he was the one who saved her. She playfully pats his back, teasing him about being an otaku as they continue on their way. Beaming with happiness, Amane exclaims that she scored 3 copies of the first edition. Seo watches her, pleased with her genuine otaku celebration. Amane overhears a shopkeeper's comment and teases Seo about the look on his face, while he insists he's not an otaku. They decide to wait for Kotoko at a cafe, and Amane reflects that the outing went well. Amane notices Seo seems overheated, and he admits that flashy, fancy places give him the vapors. Trying to distract himself, Seo asks what kind of kid her little sister is. Amane falls silent for a moment, looking away. She turns back to him and asks him to promise he won't tell anyone, piquing his curiosity. Amane quietly confesses that she is, in fact, an only child. Seo immediately starts apologizing profusely, thinking he's touched on a sensitive subject. Amane laughs and explains the girl is the daughter of her mom's friend and is like a little sister to her. Seo expresses his relief, admitting he was imagining a tragic backstory or even an imaginary sister. After Amane explains the situation, Seo says he understands and expresses a desire to meet her. He elaborates that he's curious to hear how Kuruman is received by its actual target audience. Amane gives him a suspicious look, asking if he's trying to get an invitation to her house. Seo panics, realizing he may have accidentally angled for an invitation, and tries to backtrack. Amane silently recalls Kotoko's idea of an alternating date. Amane tells him it's fine and sincerely asks if he would like to come over. Seo hesitates, but she reassures him, saying her parents work so they can talk about otaku things. The realization that they could be alone together makes Seo's heart race. Just then, Kotoko arrives, thanking them for waiting and announcing it's her turn. Kotoko declares that it's now time for her date with Ijichi, leading him to a park. Seo nervously asks what they are going to do at the park. She explains that they can't see a movie in just 1 hour, so they'll have to find their own fun. She then reveals her phone with a knowing grin. Seo screams in shock as he sees his face distorted by a funny filter on Kotoko's phone. Kotoko bursts out laughing, explaining that it's a popular TikTok filter. She tells him that since he saw her embarrassing side before, she plans to make him do a lot of embarrassing things today. Seo suggests taking her picture instead, but Kotoko refuses, saying she's taking his picture today. She then suggests they do a cute dance and pulls him up to join her. As she sets up her phone on a tripod, she tells a reluctant Seo that it's a simple 15-second routine. Seo awkwardly dances alongside a cheerful Kotoko while her phone records them. Out of breath, Seo laments that this will be a new shameful chapter in his history, while Kotoko laughs at his distracting moves. Since he doesn't use TikTok, Seo asks what kind of dance it was. Kotoko thoughtfully considers his question while setting the post to private. Unbeknownst to Seo, the video is tagged with couple dance. Kotoko spots a Kuruman gachapon machine and points it out to Seo. Seo gets excited, noting the high quality of the figure for its low price. Kotoko then crouches down and asks him if there's anything else he loves, other than Kuruman. Seo's eyes light up, thinking she's asking about other anime. He eagerly asks if he can talk about other animes, and Kotoko smiles, amused by his otaku nature. Kotoko leans in and clarifies her question, asking if he likes a girl, for example. Seo gasps, caught off guard by the directness of the question. He gets flustered, thinking that someone like him is wholly unsuitable for a relationship. Kotoko teases him, asking if he's thinking that she might like him. She then claims she's not interested in things like that either, as she has more fun with friends and family. Kotoko ruffles Seo's hair, telling him that for him she might be interested. She then suggests that next time, they have a date with just the two of them. Just as Seo is processing this, Kotoko spots Amane and calls out to her. Seo is left completely bewildered, trying to understand what Kotoko meant. Amane arrives and asks why Ajichi's face is flushed, while Kotoko blames it on the summer heat. As they walk ahead of Seo, Amane whispers to Kotoko. Amane asks Kotoko how serious her interest in Seo is. Kotoko replies that she's probably as serious as Amane, which she feels is somewhere above zero. They acknowledge that Seo's interest in them seems to be zero, as he's completely focused on Kuraman. Seo, distracted, realizes he's been left behind, completely unaware he was the subject of their conversation. Amane asks her mother, a professional hair and makeup artist, for help styling her hair for the date. In the classroom, Kotoko struggles to recall the name of a new Kuraman character, while Takuya, Seo, and Amane instantly know the answer is Single Boy Jack. An otaku's mind is filled with detailed, often useless trivia about their interests. Kotoko is impressed by their knowledge, leading Seo to boast about his memorization abilities. Kotoko cheerfully suggests their memorization skills must make them confident for the upcoming midterms. The comment sends Seo and Amane into a state of silent panic. Seo despairs, thinking that tests are impossible for otaku, which makes Kotoko wonder where his earlier confidence went. Kotoko turns the question to Amane, who coolly states that she isn't an otaku. Amane admits she's only good at modern Japanese, implying her other subjects are in danger. Amane asks Seo how he did on the 5 evaluation tests in April. Seo's answer of around 300 points is met with a grim silence from Amane. Kotoko's attempt to cheer Amane up backfires as Amane angrily tells her she doesn't appreciate the pity. Amane deflects by asking Kotoko about her scores, who casually mentions she didn't find the tests that hard. Kotoko casually reveals her composite score was around 423, explaining the class average was about 80. Amane and Seo are stunned into silence, their own scores of 32 and 49 respectively paling in comparison. Amane thinks Kotoko is surprisingly capable, while Seo concludes that one can't judge a Jaru by her appearance. Instead of paying attention in class, Seo is busy doodling a character he calls Rocketman. Other students can't help but admire Amine's refined appearance and posture. Kotoko listens as the teacher announces that the quiz tomorrow will cover the current lesson. After school, Seo walks home, thinking about coloring the Rocketman drawing he did earlier. Meanwhile, at karaoke, Kotoko asks Amane which song she wants to sing, and Amane mentions she likes a song by an idol group called Pinpuri. Kotoko and a friend get excited about a song they heard on TikTok and decide to sing it as a duet, much to Amine's confusion. Seo is busy organizing his Kuraman shelf with a nagging feeling he's forgetting something important. Amane is lost in the world of a Kuraman novel, kicking her feet with excitement while lying on her bed. Meanwhile, Kotoko studies at a desk, while her little brothers play video games, recognizing a song from their karaoke session. Seo looks at his quiz score of 22 out of 50 with confusion. Amane is dismayed by her own score of 16 out of 50. Kotoko, however, scored an impressive 44 out of 50. Amane and Seo are shocked, demanding to know how her score is so high and questioning if she's even paying attention during class. Seo realizes that Kotoko, the Jaru who sits in front of him, is an excellent student and asks for help with a problem. He asks how she's so smart, jokingly wondering if she secretly studies at karaoke. Kotoko explains she just pays attention in class and reviews her notes, a simple strategy that hits Seo hard. Kotoko puts on a pair of glasses so she can read the textbook. Seo is stunned into silence, commenting that her glasses are unexpected. She explains she only wears them for reading up close and playfully asks if he thinks she looks cute. Seo thinks her current appearance is a complete departure from the last time he saw her, which prompts an annoyed Kotoko to tell him to forget about that. Kotoko urges Seo to forget everything else and focus on the conjugation forms for the midterm. Seo is too mesmerized to focus, thinking he can't possibly tell her how cute she looks. When she realizes he wasn't listening, Seo apologizes for his lack of concentration. His reaction makes Kotoko depressed, as she starts to believe the glasses don't look good on her. She admits that her little brothers tease her for wearing glasses while calling herself a Jaru, which shocks Seo. Seo blurts out that she has it completely backward, exclaiming that her glasses look amazingly cute and took his breath away. His direct compliment leaves Kotoko stunned and sparkling. Flustered, she tells him to stop trying to pick her up and to concentrate on memorizing the material she marked. Still blushing, Kotoko quietly thanks him for the compliment. Overcome with embarrassment, she declares she won't wear the glasses anymore, shocking Seo. 5 days before the midterm, Seo overhears his classmates and realizes he hasn't even started studying. He worries that if things continue this way, he'll fail. At home, feeling numb, his desire to find refuge in anime grows stronger. He imagines an anime character being told that there is a place where her ability to focus will double. The character is told to seek answers at the archive of the underworld, giving Seo an idea. Seo realizes the place he needs to go is the library. Inspired by the anime, Seo sits down in the library, fired up and ready to study to find his focus. He is then surprised to see Kotoko and Amane also in the library. Kotoko asks if he's there to study, and Seo declares with dead seriousness that he's on a journey to find his focus. Kotoko is surprised, revealing that Amane had said the same thing earlier. She teases them about thinking alike, but Amane dismisses it, while Seo realizes the phrase is from a Kuruman anime. Since they're all there, Kotoko decides they should study together and sits down next to Seo. As Amane asks where to begin, Seo feels overwhelmed, needing to start with everything. Kotoko puts her glasses on and begins helping Amane with her studies. Watching them, Seo becomes flustered, realizing he can't possibly find his focus in this situation. Kotoko checks her phone, surprised to see it's already 5 p.m. and says she has to go home. Seo asks if something happened, but she explains it's her turn to make dinner when her mom isn't home. Amane, who is also home alone, asks Kotoko to come with her, teasing her about her poor cooking skills. As she leaves, Kotoko warns Amane and Seo to study and not just talk about Kuruman. Amane dismisses the possibility, and Seo agrees that he can't afford to get distracted. 10 minutes later, instead of studying, Amane and Seo are engrossed in a Kuruman drawing battle. As the closing bell rings, Amane accuses Seo of trying to run away after winning. Determined not to lose, Amane challenges him to another battle of famous quotes as they leave. The two walk out of the library, laughing and enjoying their friendly rivalry. As they walk, Amane sighs, saying that it was really fun. They continue to playfully bicker about who truly won their Kuruman battles. Seo is surprised to learn that Amane's house is in the same direction as his. As Amane presses the crosswalk button, Seo asks if living so far from school is difficult, but she says she's used to it. Seo is shocked and flustered after accidentally touching Amane's hand. Amane is equally surprised by the sudden contact. They both quickly try to downplay the incident, apologizing and pretending it was nothing. They awkwardly laugh it off, blaming the easily forgotten button for the mishap. After the incident, an awkward silence hangs between them as they walk. Seo's heart pounds in the awkward situation, which is broken when Amane points out her house is a different way. Seo quickly says his goodbyes, planning to make a hasty retreat. He turns and begins to walk away. Just as he's leaving, Amane calls out to him. Amane stands in front of her house and shyly asks Seo if he wants to stop by. Seo is completely shocked by the unexpected invitation. The story picks up with Seo having been invited to Amane's house. When Amane asks if he does not want to come over, a flustered Seo stammers that it is not that at all. Amane tries to make it seem casual, reminding him that she has been to his place before. She then becomes visibly flustered, denying any other motive for the invitation except to continue their Kuruman battle, a reason Seo knowingly accepts. As Seo cautiously enters, Amane comments that he looks like he is casing the joint. She tells him her room is upstairs and leads the way. Seo notes that she ignores his odd behavior. While following her, he tells himself to maintain his calm, acutely aware that they are alone in the house. Amane leads a nervous Seo into her room. The realization that he is in a girl's bedroom for the first time sends his heart pounding. He apologizes, explaining his inexperience, which makes Amane self-conscious. Amane quietly acknowledges to herself that it is her first time having a boy in her room, too. An awkward silence falls between them as they stand apart in the room. To restore their previous calm, they both desperately suggest talking about Kuruman. Seo's heart is in turmoil as his thoughts are consumed by the situation, eclipsing his usual focus on Kuruman. He reasons that to calm down, he needs a distraction and asks to see her Kuruman collection. Amane agrees, wondering what part of her collection she should show him. Blushing slightly, Amane asks Seo to close his eyes for a moment. He slams his eyes shut. His imagination runs wild, filling his mind with anything but pure thoughts. Just as Amane tells him to open his eyes, he peeks, convinced his mind is too far gone. Amane proudly presents a Kuruman item. Seo is stunned, recognizing it as an extremely rare limited edition acrylic stand that he and his sister had failed to win. Amane clarifies that the little sister she won it with is a girl named Seiyu, whom she considers family. She gushes about how Seiyu always wants to talk about Kuruman, while Seo recalls her mentioning this before. A young girl appears in the doorway, declaring that she is the one who tolerates Amin's fascination with Kuruman, not the other way around. She leans close to Seo, calling him boyfriend-san and warning him not to be deceived. The girl's appearance and accusations send Amane into a panic, leaving Seo utterly confused. Amane decides to properly introduce the girl. She is Amamiya Seiyu, a third grader from next door whose family is close with Amin's. Seiyu reveals that she often has to come over and make dinner for Amane, who would otherwise just drink water. Seo tries to connect with Seiyu by mentioning her love for Kuruman, which makes Amane gulp nervously. Seiyu bluntly states she graduated from that foolishness in first grade, shocking Seo. She recounts how she originally recommended Kuruman to Amane. However, their interests diverged as Amane became obsessed while Seiyu lost interest. Her comment about people not being able to detach from Kuruman even in high school feels like a direct attack on both Amane and Seo. When Seo asks what she is interested in now, Seiyu's serious answer is Japanese chess. Amane insists to Seiyu that Seo is not her boyfriend, prompting Seo to introduce himself as her classmate. Seiyu immediately declares him a boyfriend candidate, a title Amane vehemently rejects. Seiyu presses the point, asking if Amane doesn't like him, causing Amane to stumble over her words. Amane pivots, declaring her love for a Kuruman character and her disinterest in real guys. Unfazed, Seiyu turns to Seo and again warns him not to be deceived. Seiyu points out the logical inconsistency of inviting a boy she does not like into her house, causing Amane to yell at her to stop talking. Insisting on the rules of hospitality, Seiyu declares that Seo must stay for dinner and pushes Amane to go downstairs and cook. Amane apologizes to Seo for the detour, dismissing Seiyu's words as childish nonsense. As she is dragged away, Amane shouts a warning to Seiyu not to put broccoli in the curry. Amane confidently announces the final edition of their Let's Draw Kuruman from Memory battle. She lays out the first step of the rules, explaining they will randomly draw a number using an app. The core of the challenge is to draw the Kuruman from memory, focusing on capturing its specific characteristics rather than artistic skill. Amane declares her certainty of winning due to having the home field advantage, while also pondering the unlikely possibility of her defeat. Amane boldly promises to grant Seo anything he desires if she happens to lose the battle. Seo gulps, taken aback by the gravity of her offer. He hides his face and calls her lewd, causing Amane to become flustered and defensive. Despite his initial reaction, Seo steals his resolve, recognizing that she used the word anything in front of a high school boy like himself. Seo points to a shelf and declares his prize should he win, Amane's limited edition Miss Luna acrylic stand. Amane asks Seo to clarify how lewd he's thinking, but he tells her to stop equating Kuruman with lewdness. Seo proposes a fair counter-wager. If he loses, he will give her his Earth-sama figurine. Amane looks determined as she accepts his wager. With the Kuruman chosen as number 27, Melticorn, they both begin to draw, ready to determine the true victor. Both drawings of Melticorn are revealed. As Amane slumps in defeat, Seo inspects the drawings and declares that, without a doubt, he has won. Amane pleads to forget the wager, even suggesting something lewd as an alternative, but Seo is not interested. Seiyu suddenly bursts in, announcing that dinner is ready and scolding them for discussing lewdness. She continues her lecture, pointing out that an elementary school child is on the floor right below them, and they both agree she is right. At the doorway, Amane thanks Seo for visiting and apologizes for how hectic things became. Seo smiles, assuring her that he really had fun and that it was his fault for arriving without notice. Amane adds that she was able to see a new side of him, prompting him to ask what she means. Just as he is about to leave, Seiyu gets his attention and asks him to wait a moment. Seiyu whispers to Seo, entrusting her older sister figure Kei to his care. Amane watches from the doorway, confused about what her sister and Seiyu are discussing. Seiyu explains that Amane's obvious enjoyment of his visit made her happy as well, and she thanks him. Seo, kneeling down to her level, is touched and acknowledges how precious Amane is to Seiyu. Seo smiles and thanks both of them for their hospitality, hoping they can meet again. He waves a cheerful goodbye as he walks away. Watching him leave, Seo comments to Amane that Seo is a nice guy, and Amane agrees. Amane reflects that his politeness makes him easy to talk to, even if his otaku tendencies make him act like a child sometimes. Seo gets close to Amane and suggests that what she's feeling might be precocious love, causing Amane to panic. Still within earshot, Seo overhears Amane loudly insisting that she doesn't like him, which he finds embarrassing. Walking away, Seo suddenly thinks he might have forgotten something important: studying. After the midterm exams, Amane, Seo, and Kotoko await their results. On the day the results are posted, Seo looks at his score of 291 points. He mentions to the girls that he avoided the cutoff for supplemental lessons thanks to Ajichi's help and then asks how they did. Kotoko confidently reveals her excellent score of 408 points. Amane, however, gloomily admits that she failed a subject. She confesses that she at least wanted to beat Seo, even if she couldn't beat Kotoko. Amane confronts Seo, calling him a traitor for getting a good score when they had supposedly slacked off together. Kotoko looks on thoughtfully as Amane and Seo argue. She tells Amane that despite the exam scores, she thinks Amane is beating her in one specific area. Kotoko whispers to a shocked Amane that she is talking about the competition for Seo. Amane denies that anything is going on, insisting it's not a competition. Seo overhears the word competition, but is completely confused about what they could be talking about. Kotoko gets his attention by tapping on his desk. Kotoko turns to Seo and asks if he wants to go on an after-school date with her. Seo is completely shocked by the invitation, recognizing it as the legendary after-school date event. Kotoko explains her reasoning, saying she feels she's being left behind and sees no harm in being more proactive. A defeated Amane remembers that she has a supplemental lesson to attend. On their after-school date, Kotoko Ajichi excitedly calls for Takuya Seo to hurry up at the cinema. When she discovers the movie she wanted to see has already ended, she asks him what he'd like to watch. Seo's heart pounds at the realization that this is a real date. He awkwardly points to a poster for a romance movie called Love Phantom, suggesting it might be a good choice. Seo's true interest is captured by a campy B-movie titled Zombies vs. Sharks. He passionately declares that he wants to see it. Kotoko thinks to herself that while it's not a typical date movie, its campiness is what makes it good. To Seo's shock, Kotoko cheerfully agrees to watch it. He questions if she's really okay with his campy movie choice. Kotoko reassures Seo, telling him he can be honest with her about what he likes. She promises she'll pick the movie next time, leaving Seo stunned at the implication of another date. The absurd movie plays on screen. Seo cringes, finding the movie incredibly campy. He glances at Kotoko, assuming she's bored and wouldn't be blamed for falling asleep. To his great surprise, Seo sees that Kotoko is crying. He wonders if she's crying because the main character survived, thinking she must be a very good person. He finds the sight so captivating that he couldn't tear his eyes away from her for the entire movie. Afterward, Kotoko exclaims how much fun she had, and a blushing Seo agrees that he also couldn't look away. At the mall food court after their movie, Kotoko Ajichi tells Takuya Seo that while the film wasn't her usual type, she found it broadened her horizons. Seo briefly considers telling Amane about the movie, but dismisses the idea, thinking she wouldn't be interested. The conversation takes a sudden turn when Kotoko confronts Seo, asking him directly if he went to Amine's house. Seo is stunned, wondering how she could possibly know about the secret visit Amane had asked him to keep quiet. Kotoko reveals that Amane herself was the source, much to Seo's shock. She admits she had to bribe a reluctant Amane with a gacha item to get her to talk. Although Amane gave her the basics, Kotoko insists on hearing the full story directly from Seo. He nervously denies anything scandalous happened, explaining that Amine's little sister Seo was there the whole time. Kotoko remarks that it's unexpected for Amane to invite him into her room, noting that they seem to be getting along well. She then surprises a blushing Seo by asking if he wants to come to her place too. She explains that her little brothers, Hibiki and Kakeru, are eager to meet her boyfriend and challenge him to video games. Kotoko confesses that she is the one who really wants him to visit. A completely bewildered Seo asks for her reasoning. She passionately declares that she doesn't think it's fair for Amane to have all the fun, a reason which leaves Seo utterly confused. At a game center, Kotoko celebrates her victory in a fighting game, leaving a confident Seo in disbelief. When he asks how she's so good, she explains that she plays often with her little brothers. Kotoko consoles the dejected Seo, telling him he wasn't bad. Seo is internally mortified at losing to a Gyaru and resolves to redeem himself by showing her a cooler side of him. Kotoko points out a prize in a crane game, saying she's tried and failed to win it before because the claw is too weak. To her amazement, Seo wins it for her on his first try. Impressed, Kotoko asks him to do it again, and Seo, feeling his pride restored, agrees to try with his remaining credit. As she holds the prize, she suddenly recalls seeing many such prizes at his house. As Seo leans in to play the crane game again, Kotoko gets close behind him to watch, becoming flustered by their proximity. He successfully wins another prize, and overwhelmed by the closeness, Kotoko quietly admits to herself that he's not bad at all. While Takuya Seo thinks they should be heading home, Kotoko Ajichi enthusiastically pulls him toward a photo booth for one last activity. Walking away with their picture, Seo admits he can barely recognize himself with all the post-processing, while Kotoko points out the simple joy of getting a physical photo. Kotoko observes that Seo seems to have gotten used to having his picture taken. Seo denies this, suggesting